Let's bring in House Judiciary Committee member, Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert right now. Congressman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to see you, Marie. You
First,
bet.
let's talk about the Cornyn bill. Are you supporting it?
It reminds me, and we're hearing this from a lot of sectors, here I've got a meaningless, ineffective bill that wouldn't have stopped the tragedy. Here, take mine. It's ineffective. It wouldn't have changed things. What would change things is that if we would require that when somebody is involved in an assault, they get an arrest record. They get charged with something. Those are the things that will show up. But otherwise, we're going to have another meaningless, ineffective effort at taking away somebody's rights. And in fairness, John Adams said this Constitution was meant for a moral, religious people. It is totally inadequate for any other. So either we've got to get back to teaching morals, and religion is the best at doing that, as most of the founders said, or we have got to start taking away people's constitutional rights one at a time, and of course we're doing that here.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that you want the background checks to be strengthened? You don't want anything else attached to it?
No, the background checks could be strengthened, but they're still not going to show anything, Maria, and that's the thing. This school did not report the assaults. They were in their sweet by and by, and they were saying, no, let's mediate. Let's don't arrest somebody for an assault. Let's don't let them have a conviction on their record. They were avoiding anything being on the record. So, okay, sure, have a more thorough background check. What would it show? Nothing, because the school would not allow the assault to be on these kids' records. So it won't make any difference to do that, in other words. But it'll make some people feel good.
No, not in this one case. It wouldn't have prevented Cruz
from getting a gun.
Well, then
why are we doing it? If it's not going to stop the tragedy, then why do it other than to feel good?
Because it would have prevented other mass shooters in recent history from getting weapons.
Like what?
The shooter in Texas.
That wouldn't have shown up because the Air Force didn't. Sure.
I just want to explain to the audience. There was a court-martial for domestic violence that was on his record that the Air Force did not report to the background check database.
Bingo.
Right,
Bingo.
but this John Cornyn bill would improve the reporting by the states and the military to the background check system. Dylan Roof, the shooter in Charleston, South Carolina, should have never been able to purchase a weapon because of a hole in the background check system where the investigator just didn't bother to get the man's police record. So if we can fill some of these holes, history shows these guns would have been kept out of the hands of some mass shooters.
Maria, if they had done their jobs and followed the law as it was, they wouldn't have been able to get the guns. So just adding more laws to laws that were not being followed to begin with, like the Air Force, I don't see how that's, if they can ignore one law, they can ignore two laws.
So what are you prepared to do? That was Dagan. This is Maria. What are you prepared to do then?
We make people follow the law. And one of the things that I think should be required is if someone commits an assault, there needs to be a record. Now, that would clearly make a difference. And apparently we've got school systems that are following the Obama lead. Let's don't give them arrest records so it doesn't show up on their records. Well, I think we do need a law that says if you're involved in an assault, it needs to be on your record. Let's get those as convictions, and then if you want to have them revisited down the road, that's fine. Knock out the conviction, we'll take it out of your record. But you should have a conviction if there is an assault there.
So,
that would be effective.
Congressman, 9 out of 10 Americans, more than 9 out of 10, 94% of Americans right now are saying Congress needs to do something about this. We need to stop this. There's too many.
Something ineffectual,
And so now you're up here saying this bill isn't going to be enough. There's going to be gridlock on this. How is it possible that at this time, when the American people are demanding that you guys do something, that you still can't get something done? Who's going to make the first move here?
I do want to do something, but I'm saying these bills that people rush forward with, here, let's do mine, here, let's do mine, and you go, well, it wouldn't have stopped the tragedy. It doesn't matter. America wants us to do something. Maria, you of all people, you understand how what an ignorant approach to government that is. We need something totally meaningless, ineffective. I mean, which comedian was it said, I don't care if you do something wrong, just do something? That is just absolutely absurd.
So should
when
you
it
do
comes
nothing?
to judgment.
So should you do nothing then?
No, I'm telling you, I think we can do something, but
What?
we do need to require when somebody commits an assault, it needs to be recorded in their arrest record, and we need to have that brought forward. And,
This is two
I think
different
that would,
conversations here.
Yeah, no, I think there
we're
are
having
plenty
two
of
different
things we can
conversations.
do.
I don't think we're disagreeing that when there's an assault, it should be in the record.
No, there are a lot of people. Maria, the schools across the country took their lead from the Obama administration. Let's don't give these people an arrest record.
Right.
Let's send them to mediation, and that is what happened with Nicholas Cruz.
Yeah, Dagan, what do you want to say? Here's Dagan.
Congressman, but here's the irony in what you're saying, is you want more arrest records, but if the state and local authorities don't report those very arrests to the National Background Database, then what you're saying is irrelevant unless we do more to improve that very background check database, which is what the Cornyn bill wants to do. And I want to know, did you vote for the bill? It was basically the Cornyn bill. It was in the House, but it had attached to it reciprocity across state lines in terms of carrying weapons. Did you vote for it when it had that reciprocity attached to it?
I did. I voted for reciprocity, but I did not vote for the NICS fix. It was going to and will allow the Obama executive order to continue, where if somebody helps you with your checkbook, then you don't get to have a gun. I know a lot of seniors that get help on their checkbooks.
That was rescinded by you guys earlier this
No, it wasn't.
Last year.
It is going on right now. The VA continues, as of last week, to report people that are not taking care of their checkbooks, and they are withdrawing their ability to have a gun. That is still happening, and this Cornyn bill will continue to allow that to go forward as it is. And so, no, it's still going on.
So are you going to be at the meeting with the president tomorrow?
I'm not sure, but I can tell you, it goes back to what should have happened during the Obama administration. We need to put all kinds of pressure, even withholding federal funds, if you do not enforce the law, if you do not follow the law. That needs to be the trick. And we know that the Obama administration enforced fewer gun violations than any administration ever. So
I don't understand
it's time to enforce the laws.
But I don't understand why you would be against the NICS bill. I don't understand why you would not want stronger background checks.
I know it's a foreign concept, but due process, taking away someone's constitutional right. Do you know when we asked the Obama administration, wait, how do you get on the no-fly list? How do you get on this no-gun list? They couldn't tell us how you got on. They couldn't tell us how you got off. They couldn't tell us what the appeal process was. Those are issues. I mean, if we're going to go ahead and refuse to be a moral and religious people, then we're going to have to take away the Second Amendment. It's one or the other. But, you know, we could enforce the law as it is, and these tragedies would not happen. We see it over and over, and that sure happened in Broward County. They ignored the law on assault and allowed this guy, troubled as he was, to continue down the road to killing 17 people. It should never occurred, not to mention, you know, people that don't know about running in and protecting others. And